The Stone Carvers Guild Podcast is a part of the Stone Carvers Guild organization, which is a fantastic organization. Don't y'all agree?
Oh, yeah, it's great. And it's cheap, too.
It's well worth the price of admission.
It is, for sure. You can find out how to become a general member at stonecarversguild.org. There's a Get Involved section. And I've been a member of the Stone Carvers Guild since its inception. It's been an unbelievable resource as far as the knowledge. How did you describe it, Joel?
Oh, it's a living library of knowledge that the stone carving world otherwise is sort of hard to break into if you are looking around for it. I'm a general member. I'm not a full-time stone carver, but I love it from kind of a hobbyist, part-time perspective, but looking to learn more, and found that through the Stone Carvers Guild, through its forum, and through being able to connect easily with other like-minded folks like Bethany and Matthew.
Yeah. So if you want to be a general member, it's just $40, and you would have access to the resources, which include the forum, and then you can log on and you could ask Matthew questions on the forum.
Or anyone else.
Or anyone else.
And also there's the annual meeting, which I just love because once a year, getting together and sharing stories is an unbelievable experience. And that's something that's also available to general members.
Attend a general meeting or even become a professional member, which has other benefits as well. You just have to go to stonecarversguild.org and click on Get Involved at the top.
Join today.
Welcome to the Stone Carvers Guild Podcast. Here you will meet a variety of carvers working throughout North America. Drawing on our collective experience, we seek to share knowledge about this ancient art and to do our part to ensure that stone carving will play an important role in built environments for generations to come. So whether you are an experienced carver, new to the craft, or just curious, put on your safety goggles, open up your mind, and welcome to the workshop. I'm Bethany Lee.
I'm Joel Norwood.
And I'm Matthew Johnson. And together,
we're the Stone Carvers Guild
the
podcast hosts.
We are the stubborn. You know, one of my favorite text threads is what I keep the text thread labeled Stone Carvers Guild Podcasters.
Oh,
I love our text threads. I think it's sometimes we spiral around. I mean, that's a little behind the scenes. There's a text thread. We all communicate with each other. Other than just, what if we only communicated with each other?
that would be very awkward.
Because this isn't awkward at all.
No, and now luckily it's not awkward. Yeah, we're gonna do a quick introduction. Yeah, of our guest today.
Yes, please.
Rob Teel is the owner and primary operator, Continental Cut Stone, which is a stone mill in Central Texas. It's mill that I've worked with for years, pretty much for my entire career. And he's just a really good guy and very, very friendly towards stone carvers and helpful in a way that a lot of mill operators aren't because it doesn't make any sense financially to deal with little small things. Although he kind of talks about how in the long run it does work out. It's just, the goodwill and the references and the services that he's able to offer is a consequence of, developing these relationships.
You had a little bit of some kind of behind the scenes talk. Like, you guys go way back. And you're talking about like Bob and Homer. Who are those people? Yeah.
Homer, Bob Reagan has been a guest on the podcast. Bob, who taught me. Homer Roberts is the guy who taught Bob how to carve, originally kind of gave him some of the early guidance. And he owned the mill that Rob eventually bought.
He's kind of been around while others have maybe left the business or others, but he still maintains a very personable way of doing business.
Riding the rise and fall of building styles and material preferences and, just the ebb and flow of any business. can take a lot of people off the board. And I think Rob has figured out a way to stay in the game even during the ebb. Just me personally, but I think any stone carver that's worked with him and will tell you that that we're all very grateful that he stays engaged and does have an interest in stone carving and recognizes its significance and its importance to any architectural project. He has real appreciation for it, which I'm grateful for, because every project, sometimes I'll work on a project that's like, it's going to take me 6 months, but it's like one block of stone. But he's always very willing and eager to work with me. So I appreciate that a lot. I guess we'll get started.
Let's do it.
I've known Rob for my entire career. I would say that 99.9% of the stone that I've ever carved has come through your mill.
For the sake of our listeners who are not necessarily super plugged into the community, if we could explain what Rob does and what the distinction is between, say, a stone carving studio, a stone mill, and a quarry, and what exactly Continental Cut Stone is, just so that we have some context. Does that make sense?
So we're a machine shop or a milling facility. I tell people all the time that we saw and shape limestone as opposed to sawing and shaping wood or steel. We do profiles. We have saws. We do a lot of flat work panels as well. We do some decorative elements, but typically we keep our skill sets are more in applying molding than they are in carving faces or flowers, or any classical architectural carvings are beyond us pretty much. And that's staying in our own lane. Over the years, we had such a great relationship with Texas Carvestone that anytime we had an opportunity to do some carving, we did it in conjunction with them. And now we've done some work with Matt and Stu and a couple others here in Texas. Quarries are just a place we harvest the raw material from. Not a lot of fabrication. We haul blocks into our milling facility. We process them into finished product. Everything we do is custom. So there's no standard products here, which makes us kind of unique. And it's kind of a hard way to make a living sometimes, because if you're waiting on information or things slow down, you don't have a go-to fill-in product. But we've managed for 39 years to make it somehow, and it's been a good ride.
You have some cutters that work with the same tools as like a carver.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Do you call them cutters? Is that what they're?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the right term.
And it's mainly because they're doing like returns and things like that, but not ornamentation.
Correct.
So forgive me,
I'm
you're
sorry,
not a quarry too, right?
So we are not a quarry. That's true. Our fab shop is on a unique property that doesn't actually harvest stone from the ground, but we're involved in a couple operations where we do operate quarries as well.
You have a quarry out in Looters.
We have a couple of properties out there, yes.
Yeah.
And until recently, we spent 18 years in the Cordova Cream and Shell Quarry.
Talk a little bit about that, or is that something that...
Sure. What do you want to know?
Tell us what's happening with Cordova Cream, because I will tell you that I'm a little bit worried. Because it seems like it might be finite now.
I don't know. We'll see, Matt. The landowners on a property that's been actively quarrying Cordova Cream and Shellstone since 1956, ran through a 50-year lease with one company. We're happy to get rid of them. In 2009, we reopened that quarry and ran it up until last year. The landowner that we had made a deal with, who we had a relationship with, passed away, and his son-in-law took over, and it became burdensome to deal with him, and he wanted us gone, and we were happy to go at the end. There is a quarry across the fence that's still active, and we'll just see what happens, Matt.
Are you able to get material from that quarry that's still operating?
We have hauled. Oh, the other quarry?
Yeah.
I should be able to, Matt. We're sitting on quite a inventory. We spent the last 6 of the last 9 months hauling blocks out of the quarry that we operated for, 17, 18 years. We brought somewhere near 700 truckloads of block from there to our facility in Florence. So we have several thousand blocks on the ground right now.
I want to share a photograph. We'll put it on the website of you've got all this block stacked up. It's like walking through some weird medieval city with no doors. It's just walls of quarry blocks. It's very strange back there because you've got so much block stacked up at this point.
Yeah,
it's kind of amazing.
And we're working on possible another source, but it's not real until it might become real.
It's interesting to you guys talking about Cordova cream and other things. It seems like we've been on a run of a lot of granite conversations lately. So back onto some of the softer side of things.
The softest.
I hear it's very soft.
Those Indiana guys, they make fun of the Cordova cream, but it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful material.
It is.
Does that make it difficult or easier to work in from, Rob, your perspective at Continental Cut Stone?
Oh, it's kind of double-edged. The softer material has some flint pockets in it and some harder and softer, some softish inclusions that can wash out over time. It saws and shapes quicker, but we probably get lower finished yields than we do with the Lueders material that we run, and or Indiana limestone. Probably has more flaws and inclusions that are not accepted in the range than most other stones. So we lose a little bit of yield and lose some production time. I'd probably, we priced the two the same because one is in our backyard, the other's a couple hundred miles away. It's not a significant, it's twice, Lueders is twice as hard as creamstone. So cream's about 3,200 and Lueders is closer to 7,000 PSI.
Okay.
That's compression?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, I have a question from Bethany. What's beautiful about Cordova cream, and how can we get it? Do we just call Rob?
Yeah, it's the veining and the Matt knows. Right. It's almost, if you catch it in the right, it has straight grain, it has swirled grain, it has no grain. And if you catch it in an area where it's got kind of a swirly vein, it looks like wood almost. It's got this really unique pattern of, is that accurate, Matt?
Yeah.
Veining?
Yeah, for sure. There's I guess it's rust. It's a little bit of iron. Is that right?
I've heard that. I don't know that for certain, but yeah, I think that's what I've heard as well.
I think there's just a little bit, because Texas was under about 100 feet of water for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so not a deep ocean, but an ocean nonetheless. And I guess in the sediment in this area, there was some iron content that creates this, Bob always called it tiger striping.
Yep.
Where it's got the little iron brownish veins that are really, really beautiful, especially when you polish and sand them.
Well, I was actually Googling it here while we were talking about it. And I was like, what a nice website. It's the Continental Cut Stone website, continentalcutstone.com. So if you want a great explanation, go to Rob's website.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, Rob, one of the things that, like, you have, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but you have a reputation amongst like smaller operations like mine or Stewart's or, other carvers in the country that know about you, of being really good to work with. A lot of mills don't want to mess around with the smaller, requests. And I know that they can be a pain in the butt, and I do everything I can to not be a pain in the butt. But it seems like that you've made a choice to kind of develop that kind of reputation. Is that true, or is that just something that just kind of happened and emerged kind of out of your relationship with Bob? Or
I think it's it's organic. I enjoy the uniqueness of what you guys do, and I'm not driven by profits or money. So it's hard to make money on a 1 or 2 piece project. I'll tell you that.
For sure.
And so if we were bottom line trying to pinch every penny we could get out of the stuff we had, you guys would be paying twice what you pay.
Right.
But it doesn't matter because I don't know. I just have a heart for creativity. My mom was very creative. I have, left brain, right brain. I think I dwell in both. I'm very numbers, but I enjoy we got this job, Matt. You're going to come see these faces. I showed them off a little while ago. And the comment was from a couple different people that they don't know any other stone mill that would go through this much trouble to try to get it right for them and spend the time and effort and money to make it happen. And
right.
I think you'll be impressed with what our little 2-axis, now 4-axis machine is doing. Our programmer has learned how to get motion in several directions as opposed to just I call it a glorified router, but we're doing some stuff at angle, and we're trading out bits to go to finer, smaller bits to get better details. And it's pretty amazing what our little 2014 2-axis, 2.5-axis machine is doing right now.
Yeah, I want to come and see that, even though it scares me.
So I got a question on that business side. You're talking about, hey, it's hard to make it with clients like Matthew and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Hey, let me back up a little bit. They're tremendous assets. Even if I make only $1, we get we refer work back and forth. Great resource for if I sell you one piece of stone and somewhere down the road somebody asks you where you got that, and you say, well, we got it at and it's not intentional. It's just kind of who I am. We try to take care of everybody the same and try to treat people fairly, whether it's a one-time fireplace tabletop client or a $1 million commercial project or big residential thing. I think we try to just treat people well regardless, and maybe that comes back around. Nobody's a nuisance, and it's hard. It's hard to make a living regardless. This custom thing that we do has driven several people out of business in the last 10 years because the margins are narrow, regardless of what we do, because it's custom. Everything we do is cut to fit a specific project.
So is it a focus on quality? Is it a focus on maybe efficiency combined with that quality that equals longevity? What's kept you successful? I'm curious.
I just don't give up.
I was going to say perseverance.
Yeah. I mean, it's we've been blessed and fortunate to have what we have, and things pop up when they need to, and they have forever. We're strictly cash flow business because there's no money, no big pile of money in the bank, no investors. I don't know how I've survived, but I'm still here. So, and things are good. It's a roller coaster ride. I think all businesses probably are to a certain extent. You got to hang on during the slow times and take advantage of it when you're busy, and try to pay down a little debt and work your way to the next downfall. As they come, every it's coming, regardless of what we think or want or know or don't know. But we've been blessed just to be here, and taking care of people and taking care of customers, I think, goes a long way. Quality and service. I've told these guys for years and years that if we ever lose quality or service, or it's funny, I had a guy call me yesterday, and he's another supplier, and he goes, "Man, they had a chip on the corner of a panel, and they're calling me and want me to replace this. And what would you do, Rob?" I said, "I'd replace it immediately."
Right.
It doesn't matter how small the chip is. It doesn't matter if in your vision it's not acceptable, then we need to replace it at our cost, not your, and nobody wants to argue over whose fault it is. They just want to move on and get it done. So hopefully we carry that attitude with us everywhere we go. And, I don't ever want to get in an argument with my customer.
I've always tried to make a stone work, if it,
yep.
Try to figure out how to make it work. But the few times when I have not been able to, call you or call Doug, and it's just like, "Hey, I can't make this work." And there have been times where this happened about 2 years ago, but I called Doug, and that afternoon he said that replacement piece is ready, which blew me away, because with a lead time of normally, 7 weeks, I was like, I was like, "How's this going to work?" And then, it is pretty impressive. And that's only happened to me twice in the last 20 years where I've needed something pretty quick. And it actually informed me as a business person, because you and Bob and Mary all had that same ethos, and seeing that no matter how much it's like, this is not what I want to have happen. You've got to jump in there and, make it right. And you're right. Nobody wants to argue about who's to blame, blame when you're talking about building schedules. It's like, no, we don't care about that. We'll figure that out later, maybe, if at all. Yeah. I really appreciate that, just as just as a mentor sort of thing to see and to learn from.
I don't know where it came from, Matt. It's kind of who I am. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of and not feel like they got taken advantage of in any way.
You're pretty relaxed in the face of adversity. I've noticed.
I sense some examples here. Huh?
I would just there have been you were talking about sometimes things are hitting on all 8 cylinders, and then sometimes the engine stalls, and you're just trying to figure out how to keep things together. And in those situations, I've seen you just kind of be pretty chill about it all, not super worked up about the looming shadows.
Right. I don't try not to make issue. So
not to blow smoke up your ass, too much, but but I do see this, and I appreciate it, and working with someone like that is helpful,
So I think, my father was a general practitioner, and he comforted people and set broken bones and delivered babies, and he was so steady with everything he did. There is no emergency that's beyond ability for him to make things better, right? So he watched death and he watched destroyed bodies, and I don't know how many thousand kids he delivered, and some of those went into NICU. And when you're in that position, doctors don't panic.
Right.
So I think that rubbed off on me a little bit. I think problems are what you make of them. It's a choice. You can either get overwhelmed by it or you just hang on until it's not like I'm fixing things. I'm just hanging on until the solution makes itself obvious, right? Or you just suck it up. And I learned early here that I could work long hours and never give up, because I wasn't gonna disappoint my dad.
Right.
I kind of did that when I was in college.
Oh, you did the disappointing back then?
Yeah, I did. So I figured he'd had enough disappointments, and I wasn't gonna let him. Or he helped when he probably didn't feel like I was a good investment after college, and I'll never forget that. And he was very steady and a good example for. I think that's all that I know.
I told you this is a philosophical podcast that sometimes talks about stone.
Right.
Well, one of the things that we talk a lot about on this podcast is that there is the artistry side of things, and that's all well and good.
Absolutely.
And it's very interesting. But really, if you want to be able to pursue that art, like figuring out the business side of things is just as important. And look, I've learned a lot about cash flow in the last 20 years about managing that and making sure that, projecting forward, and also realizing that sometimes there's not any flow, and you just got to kind of stay chill and not panic and not start. I think the way that, like, for me, the temptations of panic have been like to take jobs that are not really, that will take up a lot of time, but they're not really what I do. And they're, and just kind of, sometimes you do what you have to do, but sometimes like holding steady and being like, well, that's, somebody calls you and wants a bunch of patio stone. I don't like, if things are slow, I'm not going to be like, okay, I can make this happen and get in between and try to middleman a project. And like, that's not what I want to do. So I just send them to, hopefully when I send people your way, Rob, they're not paint in the butt.
Oh no,
I try not to send you small projects, although sometimes I do.
Yeah, it's all good.
I want to hear
the big ones.
I want to hear about some of these projects you guys have worked on together, or maybe have handed off to each other somehow. I'd like to hear about that.
Trying to think what I think usually what it seems like, Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like a project comes through and you're like, I'd rather, I don't want to, I'm going to hand this to Matt anyway, so rather than being in between it, I'm just going to pass it on. Is that seems like that's the most recent one, that Keystone that you passed on to me was. Yeah. You don't try to step on it normally, or like have it run through the mill in name. Right. It seems like you pass it. You just passed it on, and put me in contact with with the client.
It's funny what you said earlier. I took the stance, Matt, that if I didn't produce it, I wasn't going to sell it, and I wasn't about to depend on anybody else. But honestly, over the last year and a half or two, after you so graciously allowed me not to pay you for a little while, we've picked up some Indiana limestone work, and we've picked up some work out of the West Texas, and we'd found a couple suppliers that had bandwidth for us. And we've been able to actually make a little money by being the middle guy, but it's all stuff that we do, and we're over capacity. We've had great demand of late, and we've got a really strong pipeline going forward. So, not on the carving side, because, except we're getting our CNC to make faces for us.
Yeah, right.
Can you tell us a little bit about the other people that you work for, from the point of view of helping us to understand what's the bigger building world and who's making what and how that fits in with stone carvers?
A very nice swing back towards classical architecture right now, I think.
Wow.
10 years ago. And I was told when I started this by a guy who's in his 60s and been doing it for 30, 40 years, that it's kind of a pendulum. You go from modern to classic, and it kind of, the architecture of the day wanes and waxes towards classical architecture. I see in the last 3 years a lot more architectural elements, classical architectural elements, than I've seen for a close to 10-year period prior to that. So we did a lot of commercial and institutional work. We've done a lot of work down at the university. We've done a lot of commercial projects. We did the George Bush Library in Dallas, and then the extension of his father's in College Station. But I really am seeing a lot more classical architectural stuff coming through right now on high-end residential. Selling mostly directly through the installation contractors. On the residential side, we do sell to the builders sometimes as well. It's kind of who their mason is and whether they're want to do the logistical and whether there's budget money in there for their 15% markup on our product.
And so when you say classical, so you mean, for instance,
balusters, columns, molded arches. Modern had been we'd done a ton of flat panel work on high-end residential, which is kind of the modern version of. So the Larry Borders and the Robbie Fuchsias and the high-end residential architects have more of those classical projects on their boards now than they did just 5 or 6 years ago, and probably 10 years ago, Matt. Didn't it seem like Corinthians and Ionics kind of just evaporated for a long time?
So you can do like moldings and
Matt evaporated.
Oh no, we keep losing. This is crazy. So okay, so we get you all to ourselves then, Rob.
All right.
Matt probably knows a ton about the inner working. I'm really interested to hear Matthew's questions because obviously his relationship with you, and there's lots of details about stuff. But like Joel and I, we're in a different part of the country and we don't know anything about your world exactly. Anyway, so I'll ask my questions till Matt comes back. But like how complex of a molding can you do?
As many steps as you want, but
okay.
Limited to 1/4 inch steps. Nothing. Essentially, we can do 1/8 inch. We could. I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We do some tremendous multi profile work. I've got one I'm looking at an entry. It's probably got 7 or 8 steps of moldings going down from 2 feet down to about 8 inches at the entry arch feature.
That's all custom. Like I can say whatever profile, and you can make that.
That's right.
Or
we don't promote any specific profile.
Cool.
Which makes it unique as well. We're not trying to compete with the cast stone people or the.
Oh. And what kind of? So again, demonstrating my ignorance. What kind of machine would do that?
Well, we have 4 planers.
Okay.
2 were made in 1917 and 1918.
Okay.
So they are 110 years old, essentially, for the oldest machine we have. And we build tooling for profile work out of carbide tipped steel blanks. And we dry scrape down to whatever profile you draw or want us to do. And then we also have 2 bladed machines that can do profile work. And then one of our bladed machines also is a milling machine that can get in and do radius profile work. And it's doing these faces that I showed off a little earlier. So profile work is done in a couple different ways. We still do some of it very old school.
Cool. And you build your own tools to a certain extent.
We do.
Wow.
Very important for us to have a tool builder on staff.
Oh, wow. So who's a tool builder? Who's that person who makes the tools for you? How do you find one?
We train,
Okay.
people that are good with fabrication, with metal, or, mostly guys that are good welders and, or, I got a guy out at our quarry operation that's came from a fabrication background and is really talented. He's not our tool builder here, but the other guy we have is they're mechanics and maintenance guys that have skills that are easy enough to train up to be. It's not easy enough. We've had 5 or 6 over the last 25 years, and 3 or 4 of them were really good. And we have pretty good longevity. That seems to be the spot that we don't hold on to people quite as long.
It seems
but we've got a lot of 20,
it seems like that
20-year plus.
Like the mechanic, it's like, but they're very creative mechanics. Because there's sometimes you've got to figure out how to make something just work, regardless of whether you have the right, replacement part or whatever.
Yeah, we fabricate a lot of parts.
When we were talking to, oh gosh, I forgot his name, but the guy in Maine who was talking about the granite industry, and he was saying that, and we just talked to the Trown Holden guy last time. Anyway, the guy with the granite industry, he was saying that really the quarries didn't get going until the technology was developed to work with it. And and we were talking a little bit about how important the relationship between the tools and what carving is. And I feel like this is a whole nother level of that. I feel like the relationship between it's everything from blacksmiths to, like you said, mechanics. And I feel like this is an extension of that conversation and about how it's all related. So yeah, this is really cool.
I think something about limestone gets in your blood as well, and then you're kind of hooked. Or at least you'd feel like that. Our guys are very loyal, and we try to treat them well.
That's really
and something about what we do. It's pretty cool. We create some pretty unique stuff.
You were asking about like what equipment is used like for profiling, and Rob said the planers, but how? First of all, I'm not sure that people know what a planer is. I'm always trying to. I mean, I know what it is, but so it's basically just a platform that moves back and forth, and then you take a profile shaped carbide tool that's been manufactured specifically for that profile, and it just drops down 1/16 of an inch per pass. Is that right?
Yeah, 1/16 to an eighth,
and then it just
not an
eighth. Yeah,
very often.
And so then it just cuts that length slowly, and eventually you get to the right depth. But what I'm curious about is how old is that technology? Do you know? Like, I mean, you have one that was.
That they go back into the mid 1800s. I know, Matt. I think I've seen machines that are 1860 or a little older,
and that are still working.
Probably not. Our 1917 and 1918 might be some of the older ones out there. But they used to, whenever they were milling steel, those machines essentially got repurposed to run stone as well, somewhere in the 1800s, 19th century, maybe mid to late, but I don't really know.
So you would take an old, like something from a machine shop that was for cutting steel, and then like you could just repurpose it into stone.
I believe that at least one of our lathes and possibly a couple of our planers may have been adaptive reused as stone machines for shaping.
I always tell this story, but it may be apocryphal, that a couple of brothers from Indiana drove down to Texas in the early 1900s with a bunch of these planers and lathes from the Indiana quarries or mills and set up shop in Texas. Do you know if that's true, or is that just me making something up?
No, I believe that to be true, Matt. They started Texas quarries, but I think it was probably closer to 1930-ish when they came down and established a milling facility. I think Texas quarries had been in operations for, I don't know, 85, 90 years when they went out. And the story that I've heard as well is that originated from a group or some folks from Indiana.
And did Double R come
true.
from that same tradition, or was it?
No. We had one guy. So that is interesting. Homer Robertson was our drafter / estimator / he knew the industry well. He went to Purdue University after the Korean War and signed up for a program called the Renaissance of the Stone Industry, which was a way to get people trained on the art of milling and drawing and shaping stone.
Mm-hmm. I always call Homer my grandfather, my carving grandfather, because he taught Bob.
Yep.
And Bob, yeah,
he did.
But he wasn't really like a big carver. He was more kind of like the mill operator. Is that right?
He was the best drafter and knew more about shapes and details than anybody I've ever been around. So it was a great learning experience for me to just have parts of his wisdom, his experience rub off on me before. I tell people the best two things that happened for me early on was that I hired Homer right away. He had set this mill up originally. And then the second best thing is about 3 years in, Homer wasn't here anymore.
Oh.
Because he wanted us to compete with the big guys, and I got nothing. We got a little saw and we can make specialty stuff, and we really were a small job mill when we started because that's what we could handle. And we gradually worked our way into being able to run bigger work.
When you bought Double R out of foreclosure, was
Mm-hmm.
and then you, because that had what Homer had operated that, and then was that a part of did Homer agree to stay on, or was that something that you then reached out to Homer afterwards and were like, hey, come and help me get this off the ground?
Well, there was no Double R Cut Stone, so he wasn't part of the deal.
Anymore. I gotcha.
No, they had locked the gates, and IRS had put a lock and a notice, and that's when Bob and some of the ex-employees got in here and snagged some tooling and some stuff that they could use. And
hopefully the statute of limitations expired on that.
Before I took possession, the story was that they snuck in there and got, some of the hammers and chisels.
That's
and
right.
Maybe skill saw or two, and a.
Do we need to bleep out this story?
We might.
Here? Do we need
No, I didn't. No, that's not said to hold anybody accountable. It was just funny because we didn't know what was in here anyway. So it didn't, it's like
something's buried in Rob's barn. Is that true, or is that not?
I don't know about that.
I think he just told me that because I was wide-eyed, and I think he just told me that. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny to hear that story because I've always kind of had a vague knowledge of it, but I never knew if it was true or not. But that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, Bob fessed up early, and it's like, okay, no problem. We didn't know what we had. There was, we had to get new tooling for everything anyway. I mean, they didn't mess with the saws and the planers and the lathe and the things that we were using at the beginning.
Homer had.
I think it's time to have Bob back on. I think it's time to have him back on the podcast.
We'll circle around. Yeah.
The expose.
Yeah.
Right.
Ask him
If
he remembers what
Homer had a book of the 5 orders of classical orders, and I remember Bob got a copy of that, and but I feel like that really the interesting thing about that book, and I don't know if you know if you've seen what I'm talking about, or if you have a copy as well, but everything is not described in terms of like if you were asking about profiles, Bethany, and in the order, the classical orders, the profiles are not described in terms of like inches or anything like that. They're described in terms of ratio of the diameter of the column. So the diameter of the column is 1, and then everything else is a ratio of that diameter, which is, it just really blew my mind that all the architecture that we see that's classical is built that way. So I guess they would just
That's really cool.
They would just have a stick that was like, okay, this is one column, this is the diameter, and then they would just work off of that, which is
wow. Do you know what that book is? That would be a really cool.
I'll ask Bob. Let's ask Bob if we have him back on.
Yeah. We should put it in the show notes or something.
Just go steal it from Bob.
I've asked him.
he owes
asked him to put it in the will. Like, all I want is that book. So.
And whatever's buried in the barn. Yeah. Anything exciting you're working on right now that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I think the Austin Convention Center that I showed you those faces on is one of the most unique things we've done in a long time.
So Matthew and Bethany, I'm just going to start saying that. Before you guys joined, Rob gave me a little tour outside and showed me these amazing, really cool blocks. And maybe we can do it again here.
I could do it again, I bet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we allowed to talk about this on the podcast and everything? Like no secret information, right?
Yeah.
NDAs signed or anything? Okay.
No, I don't think we need to worry about that.
That's good. Describe to us the project, though.
This is Art in Public Places installment. It is made out of Luder's limestone, and it is a combination of what's turned out to be 15-inch square panels with these faces carved in, and a split face material and a rough back material that goes around the. So there's there's 10 art in public places installations going on at the convention center. One of them is stone, and I talked to one of the AIP people, and they were like, or no, it was the architect from what was Page and now Stantec. He said a lot of it was like metal that's been painted, and not any real sculptural things. And they were really excited about this. They started with the idea was to put 4,000 unique faces on a feature wall that comes at one corner of the building, and that pared down to 1,000, and now we're at about 650 faces. They're getting bigger, so they'll be sprinkled in. It is a graph of the state of Barton Springs, which is a major water hole in downtown Austin.
Oh.
So anyway, the different depths of it's like a history of the water level, and depending on how high the water is or was, that dictates how high up these columns of faces go.
And are the faces,
and
are they specific people, or are they? Oh, they are.
Yes. Yeah, he's scanning faces.
Oh,
Wow.
And then he's able to take those scans, send them to your CNC operator, and your CNC operator is able to then get the machine to do the work. That's
Yes.
cool.
Wow.
Yeah. He's doing he's printing these things. What do you call it? Not laser, but
3D printing.
Yeah, 3D printer. He's got 1/24th scale models of every face that he's scanned, that he's intending to take to. He's got a couple hundred faces done, I think, at the moment.
Wow.
Ready to plug
Is he
in.
going to use? Is
So
he going
we're
to
all-
scan your face?
He already did. He already,
All right.
he already carved.
He
it
did.
Wow.
once. He brought it out yesterday in our meeting. I was like, yeah. Anyway,
I think we
Yeah.
need that picture of that one, and that should be on our cover image for this podcast episode.
all right,
Yeah,
I'll send
that's
it.
wild. That's wild.
This has been a great
right.
conversation. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the main thing that I would want listeners to take away is that
Yeah.
Continental Cut Stone is like a great resource, and we're lucky to have you. So, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Thank you,
All right.
man.
You've been listening to the Stone Carvers Guild Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation, and we hope that you will find us online at stonecarversguild.org. There you can find photos showing some of the things that we discussed today, additional information about our guest, and if you're so inclined, ways to get more involved with the Guild and our ongoing activities. And of course, if you've enjoyed this podcast, we hope that you will subscribe and rate us on the podcaster of your choice. 5 stars, please. We'll be back in a month with a new episode, so until then, keep your hammer up and your chisel sharp.
The views and opinions expressed in the podcast do not necessarily reflect that of the Stone Carvers Guild. This content is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only. Thanks for listening.